Hi, and welcome to our act of worship this morning. I hope you're all doing well. I'd like to start by introducing you to this guy here. Okay. Now, some of you may recognize him. He's, of course, a biker scout from the 1983 film Return of the Jedi, which was at the time the third and final Star Wars film in the trilogy. We've had a lot made since then. And he was a collectible item. Some would say a toy. I'd go for a collectible. Why am I showing you him? Well, and apologies if you've heard this story before, but when I was 5, my brother invited me round to the house of one of his friends, and his friend had got one of these figures, brand new, and he was showing it to us. They'd just come out, it was very exciting. We had a game, and in the middle of that game, I accidentally, and to this day I have no idea how, I accidentally snapped the head off his brand new figure. He'd let me play with one of his new treasured possessions, and I had broken it. And so I did the only thing that a good, honest person would do. I stuffed it under the settee and ran home, leaving my brother to take the blame. Something he's reminded me about time and time again since. So I'll come back to that story a bit later. I don't know how you're feeling at the moment. I think if I was to sum up how I was feeling, it would probably be a bit like this guy on the screen. It's difficult, isn't it? It's difficult to hear the news every day and not find it getting on top of you. It's difficult to stay inside when the sun is beautiful and shining, the day is warm and glorious, and not think about what we're missing. And there are many things I am missing, but interestingly, one of the things I'm missing is work. I'm really missing going to school. I never thought I would do, but I am. I miss the interactions. I miss the conversations with my friends and colleagues. But it is that sense of community, I think, that I miss the most. That sense of togetherness, that sense of coming together as a school with lots of other people. And yes, I've got to admit that I even miss lunch duty. Now, those of you who remember me being on lunch duty may find this hard to believe. You may think to yourself, he was always grumpy and he never smiled on lunch duty. How could he be missing it? But actually, I'm missing the interaction and the fun that I would have talking to students at those times. I did my first live lesson today with Year 12. We broadcast the lesson on Zoom, and it took me a while to work out the technology and to get my head around it. But I really enjoyed it. It made me remember what it was that I was missing. It made me think about what it is I enjoy so much about my job. And unfortunately, at the moment, we can't have those things. And as people, we're not meant to be alone. We're not meant to be trapped inside. We're not meant to be confined. We're meant to be in relationships, to be with friends, to be sociable. We're meant to be able to walk outside and enjoy the fresh air and the sun. And therefore, it's difficult when those things are denied us. And there are different ways of reacting when things are difficult. I had a Tesco delivery today. There are other supermarkets. I don't think any of them have any more food than each other, but there are plenty to choose from. We managed to get a Tesco slot. We had to stay up till midnight and book it to get one, but we did. And when they came, I looked at the list of items that they'd had to substitute and those that they couldn't deliver. And I found myself getting really irritated. Where was my bread flour? They'd said it was available when I clicked online. How come they couldn't deliver it? Why had they delivered mixed size eggs again when clearly I'd asked for large? And how have they managed to deliver 2 pineapples when I ordered 2 mangoes? I genuinely found myself getting irritable, annoyed about it. Rather than thinking about the bigger picture and those who perhaps would love to have 2 pineapples or would love to be able to have eggs of any size. The danger is that when we get confined by ourselves, we look inwardly and start thinking about just ourselves, and we forget to think about others. And we forget that there are many who are far worse off than us in our own communities, in our own streets, in our towns, in our country, and most certainly in the wider world. Now, one of the good things is I'm getting daily exercise. It's interesting, isn't it? That when you're only allowed to go out of the house once to exercise, suddenly a lot of people seem to be going out of the house for their daily exercise. And I'm bumping into more and more people, not literally because I'm keeping my distance, as you'd expect, on a daily basis. But I'm exploring new walks, new paths that I didn't know existed around the village where I live. And it's interesting to go along to see how the wildlife seems to be flourishing. There seems to be, it might be my imagination, there seems to be far more birds, sound of birds in the sky, wild animals, rabbits and deer roaming around. I saw on the news about the goats, which had half invaded a town in Wales, and some dolphins. There are far more dolphins apparently off the coast than there are normally. As humans have retreated to their houses, wildlife is expanding. And it makes us remember and reflect that actually the earth is not just ours to do what we want with. The earth is and belongs to all living creatures. It is God's ultimate gift to us, a gift that we should treasure and that we should protect. And so we come back to that idea of treasuring something, treasuring things that are precious to us. I started off by telling you my story about the bikie scout that I broke, something I didn't treasure. And I'm sure we could all think of times when we haven't treasured something that was precious to us or precious to someone else. And perhaps at times like this, it's interesting to think back and reflect on what are our treasures? What are the things that are close to our hearts? What are the things that we care for? And what are we doing to look after those things? Whether they are people, whether they are animals, whether it's the world around us, whatever it may be. And a verse in the Bible came to mind. Where your treasure is, there your heart will be also. Those of you who are Harry Potter fans will know that this is quoted in Harry Potter, in the final book, the Deathly Hallows. It is on the grave stone in Godric's Hollow. Harry reads it, where his parents are buried. J.K. Rowling quoting the Bible. What did she mean by it? What does it mean? What did Jesus mean by it? The passage tells us that what we treasure, what we treat as precious, is where our heart is. It's where our love is. Where is your treasure? What are you going to be a steward of? In this week of stewardship, what is it that you care about and you want to look after and you want to keep safe? I suspect there are a number of people like me, a number of you like me, who are finding this quite difficult. Look out for people who are finding it difficult. Try to help them. Send them a text, WhatsApp them, give them a call. Show them that actually they are treasured, that we are all part of one community and that we all care for each other. Let's finish with a short prayer. Heavenly Father, we just thank you for our school. We thank you for the love and compassion and care of each one of us. In these difficult times when we aren't together physically as a community, help us always to look out for each other still and to support each other, so that one day, hopefully soon, we will come back together and be able to share once more in those good times. Amen. Thank you for watching. Please stay safe and have a good week.